welcome everybody to another round of World of Tanks subscriber replays. My name as always is Maxwell, and today's first video is from the user Lings. I'm gonna assume that's how it's pronounced, Lings, and he's driving the Hellcat on an assault battle on Erenburg. Before we get into this video, I just want to say a massive thank you to Wargaming EU, who have nominated me their YouTuber of the month for October. You can go ahead and check out the Wargaming EU site and the community spotlight section. No idea what that asshat Covenanter is doing. Probably just some kind of troll. But yeah, so you can go and check out their community spotlight on the main page there, where they've named me the English-speaking YouTuber of the month. So very massive thank you to Wargaming EU for that honour. So onto this game, the Hellcat being the Tier 6 tank destroyer for the Americans, the one that you see. You see a lot of this this tank destroyer, especially in our tank company nights that we do at the end of the month, once a month, and that's because it is borderline overpowered. It's got good speed, good maneuverability, really good cannon. The only thing it does lack is armor, its armor being only 13 all the way around. But just look at that accuracy and look at that damage and penetration, taking off more than half the hit points of that Panzer IV there. Oh, that was quite a low roll there. Not quite able to take out that Panzer IV there, leaving him with just 4 hit points. Although this KV-1S is going to be in serious trouble here. Not sure if Lings has got Sixth Sense. If he hasn't, then he's been pretty ballsy here, sat behind that bush. If he has got Sixth Sense, then he knows that he's absolutely safe. So he gets a shot through the front of that KV-1S before he managed to get into cover behind the building, so that's pretty good. Tanks are a little bit thin on the ground here. As we can see, most of them are just kind of sat around the spawn location there. In fact, are those guys AFK? Not really sure. Got a couple of guys gone over to the far left-hand flank to try and stop whatever push happens over there. But as I said, they're a little bit thin on the ground over here. As you can see, not faring too well at the moment. They've actually lost 4 tanks. Looks like one of those may have been a team kill, considering that the enemy team only has a score of 3, yet they've lost 4 tanks. I wouldn't be surprised if that Covenanter from earlier had anything to do with it. So they found an SU-100 on the far left-hand side. Got to be careful of that tank because it gets the same cannon that the KV-1S does, only it has a faster reload speed. So definitely got to be careful of that one. But luckily they were able to concentrate the fire and get that SU-100 taken out pretty damn quickly. Almost able to delete the Hetzer there with a single shot, but it looks like he's just about able to get behind the hill and into the fog of war before another shot comes in. This one not going particularly well for the Allies there. You can see they're losing with a score of 2-6. Enemy teams just absolutely overrun them on that far left-hand flank. Nowhere near enough tanks going that way. They did seem to have enough tanks on this flank. Oh, still didn't manage to penetrate that 1S through the side armor. KV-1S definitely needs its balance addressing. So yeah, definitely not enough tanks going over to that far left-hand side. As you can see, a couple of heavy tanks making the move there now. They've got enough guys on this right-hand flank, really. It's definitely that left-hand flank that needs addressing. This 3601 has no idea where he's being shot from. Luckily, he is able to get into cover thanks to the abundance of houses lining the river there. This KV-1S is still in the centre somewhere, so got to be careful of that guy, because just 1 or 2 shots from his cannon will really ruin a Hellcat's day. Oh, finds the 3601, not quite able to hit him there, a little bit unfortunate. Probably didn't track ahead of his target enough to account for distance and speed. 3601 has decided to stop and reverse now, and that's going to spell the end of him, and that is going to be Ling's first kill of the match. So not quite able to get the gun depression to get on target for this KV-1S. Luckily is able to get him there, and the KV-1S returns fire, but unfortunately for him misses. Although the enemy team is still winning this one pretty handily. It's 6 kills to 9. M7 there trying to duel with this 1S. 1S just rushes his shot there. Russian accuracy, hits the ground and misses that one. M7 just ducks back into cover. And that KV-1S gets himself taken out by an enemy Hellcat. So there's just 4 allied tanks now against the, how many is that, 9 of the enemy team, and there is a base capture happening. So Lings is going to have to drop back and see if he can get some eyes on the enemy here. Most of the allied tanks are on the southern portion of the map on this right hand side, so if Lings can get some eyes on the enemy, hopefully they can do something about this. Although it looks like that Cromwell has encountered a KV-1 and a Hellcat. So a little bit unfortunate for him. Ling's just going to sit in the bushes here. Finds a Type 58 there. He's just going to try and get some damage onto each tank to try and reset this cap as much as possible. Takes out the ARL there. Then he's got a Jagdpanzer who's trying to retreat back into the bushes. You don't want to let him get into the bushes because that's going to be him gone and faded into the fog of war. Looks like this M7 is the last capper that hasn't been reset. And there we go. That is a full reset of all of the capping tanks there. So an awesome bit of base defense there from Lings. And it's just him and one more Hellcat left. There's still somebody capping the base here, which is this Type 58. And it'll just be a case of one shot through the front, and that is the end of his game as well. And that is kill number 5 for Lings. So he's got an allied Hellcat up on the hill there. If he plays it smart like Lings did earlier, then he should be able to get some serious damage onto the enemy. Nope, he's dropping back even further. Probably trying to get into a more defensible position. Lings is going to put himself into this forest. So we're just going to speed it up a little bit till we get back into the action here. Got a couple of Hellcats going to be dueling on the other side of this hill. The problem here is the other Hellcat should really be in a position where they can cover each other. But as you can see, the allied Hellcat is in a position where if he gets fired upon, then our man Lings here is not going to be able to support him and return fire on whoever's shooting at him. So the other Hellcat really needs to drop back more towards this forest or take up a position on the hill there, or just on the other side, this side of the hill, just so that they can cover each other. As it is, he's just going to decide to duel one-on-one with this enemy Hellcat. Just going to speed it up a little bit until we get back into the action. So as you can see, that Hellcat getting shot again, and getting killed while only returning fire once, and getting a little bit of damage onto that Hellcat. So spotted a T-49 coming up the valley. It's just Lings here against 4 enemy tanks. Although if you have a quick look in the top right hand corner, they only have 2 minutes left on the clock. So they're really going to have to find him or get a base capture done. If he can take out this T-49, he's going to be in a much better position. He does have 6th sense, so he knows that he hasn't been spotted. Although he put a shot high and wide of the T-49. If he gets a good roll here, oh, not quite. So if he got a good damage roll there, he would have been able to take out that T-49. T-49 knows which direction he's getting shot from, so I think he's probably just going to take one for the team here and try and spot him in the forest. No, he's not. He's hiding on the other side of that ridge. Churchill Mark 1 should prove easy pickings here. But just keeping an eye out for that 49, because if he comes, ooh, unlucky there. If he comes over the top of that ridge, going to have to take him out pretty quickly, or else he's going to get some eyes on him and spot him. Churchill 1 thinking he's in cover, but he's absolutely not, and gets himself eliminated, although he has been spotted now, because that T-49's probably close enough, or that Churchill Mark 7. So he's got to make a run for it now with only 55 seconds on the clock. To be honest, I probably wouldn't have stuck around after firing on the T-49 and seeing him back off and hide. I probably would have started running then with about 2 minutes on the clock. So by the time they get to the cap zone, there's only going to be about 1.5 minutes left, and then there's going to be nowhere near enough time for them to complete a base capture. And therefore their only option would be to hunt you down, and they've got absolutely no chance of that happening. Very, very lucky here. It looks like Lings wasn't spotted leaving the forest, so the enemy tanks are still heading towards A9 and A0 to try and take him out. As you can see, they're going for the base capture there, but it's going to take 1:35 to do, and there's only 13 seconds on the clock. And in fact, he's even covering the base from this direction. Going to wait for his binoculars to kick in, see if he can see anybody, but no, this game's won thanks to the superior positional play of Lings in his Hellcat there. So absolutely brilliant replay from you. Thank you very much for sending that one in. Stick around, guys, because as always, the score screens are coming right up. And our second replay of the day is from the user Mike5686. That's Mike5686. And he's driving the AMX 5100 on a standard battle on Severogorsk. So the AMX 5100 being the tier 8 heavy tank for the French. This thing has the 6-shell autoloader. Pretty long reload time, mind you, but when it is fully reloaded, you're able to absolutely wreak havoc on similar tiered heavy tanks. You just got to make sure that you don't get caught short in between reloading. As you see there, Mike obviously played this tank at least a few times, because he's not wanting to crest this hill until his gun is either reloaded or very, very close to being loaded, as he would be up the top there with absolutely no defense. No way of retaliating on an enemy if they decide to fire at him. As you can see, nobody quite in position here yet. The French heavy tanks known for their speed and agility, so able to get into nice advanced positions usually before any of the enemy tanks are able to. Just keeping an eye on this 2801 here, thinking he may make a move up the hill. So just going to keep that area under surveillance. There we go. As you see, is making a move up the hill. He's able to get a little bit of damage onto him. Unfortunately, drops back just a little bit as the 2801 drops back, so he's not quite able to get any other damage on him there. He's going to spin himself around and pay attention to the advancing enemy here. So he's in quite a good position here. If anybody decides to come through this little village here, the damage that he should have with the remaining 5 shells should be enough to scare anybody off. But as you can see, there's an IS-3 down in the valley dueling with that Panther 2. He's having the better of the situation here. So Mike just going to use the speed and maneuverability of the AMX 5100 to get around behind this IS-3. Get some surprise damage through his side armor before he realizes what's going on. Although he can't just sit here at his leisure. As you can see, he's taking shots from behind, so he's actually got to move in front of the IS-3 here. But not going to move too far, because just one more shot and the IS-3 becomes kill number 1. I'm going to reload his clip here. Panther 2 did come up to support, but Mike took a couple of big hits in the rear armor there. Not that it really matters which armor he takes the shots in. The French heavy tanks not really known for their superior armor or hit points, so only got 1400 hit points here, which is less than the tier 7 Tiger. And not really having particularly great front armor. It is nicely sloped, as you can see, but it's not particularly thick, so it doesn't really tend to bounce shells very often. On the plus side, it does mean you don't have to overly worry about which bit of the armor you want to present to the enemy. So his clip's almost reloaded here, so he's going to go down and assist the Panther 2 in taking out this T-44. You can use these French heavies a lot more like medium tanks and get some flanking and rear action going. And there you see, able to flank around behind that T-44 there. T-44 knew that his bacon was cooked, but just decided to go forwards and try and at least get some damage onto that Panther 2 and possibly take him out before he gets himself killed. Unfortunately, not quite able to make that happen. And T-44 becomes Mike's second kill of this match. So the rest of the team not doing particularly well. I'm not really sure what those guys over there are doing. They seem to just be kind of sitting around, not really doing much. They really should have gone to that hill on the left. There's no point in this game camping in the centre there, because nothing happens in the centre. Oh, spots out a Lerva here. If he's able to get, I think he took his track off there with that first shot. Second shot, able to set him on fire. Just going to let him burn for a little bit longer. Hopefully one more shot. And there we go, kill number 3. So an excellent piece of sniping work there from Mike, able to pick up kill number 3 on that Lerva who was hiding behind the hill there. Probably thought he was pretty safe from any enemy tanks. Unfortunately, that wasn't quite the case. So it looks like the Allies have lost the right-hand flank. They're doing okay on the left thanks to that AT-15, kind of sitting there being an immovable object and not letting the enemy push against him. Oh, spots out the Hummel here. Does he have a well, no, he doesn't have a shot because his gun's still reloading, and it's going to be quite a while until it's finished. So he's just going to forget about maybe taking out that Hummel and just go for the right-hand flank, as there is an IS-6 sat at the top of this hill. Well, it looks like the Allied artillery was able to take out the enemy artillery there. Nice piece of counter-artillery play. IS-6 knows that he's been spotted here as he sees the 5100 coming up the hill. 5100 going to try and get a shot on him, but to be honest, he's probably going to take some damage in return. Or not. The IS-6 just getting totally caught by surprise there. Too busy trying to reverse rather than getting some damage onto the... Rather than getting some damage onto the 5100, just reversing there. E25. Sorry, just E25 laying down some fire there on the on Mike, but Mike just opening fire in return and taking him out, no problem whatsoever. That E25, you do have to be really careful of that thing because it feels like it's got an auto loader, but it doesn't. It just fires ridiculously quickly. Hellcat having a shot of his own, and he is able to get into cover before Mike's able to return any fire himself. Although the Hellcats come back over the hill far too quickly. Probably didn't think that he was spotted, so probably didn't have sixth sense, although if he'd been looking in the direction that he was firing, he would have seen that Mike's gun turned onto target and was able to take him out. And that just leaves one artillery piece lurking somewhere, probably in the bushes here, probably up near where the Hummel was, although after the Allied GW Panther hit, if the M44 was in this area, like he was, probably should have started running away, but that's artillery players for you, ladies and gentlemen. So absolutely awesome replay there from Mike5686, showing his skills with the AMX 5100. Don't forget, if you've got yourself a good replay where you make some great plays, or it just turns out to be a sterling battle, don't forget to send that to replay@screenreality.com. If you've got yourself any questions, then send those to question@screenreality.com. Not the plural, not questions, just question@screenreality.com, and we'll do our best to answer as many of those as possible. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. This has been World of Tanks. I've been Maxwell, and I will catch you next time.